Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop on joining the Michigan Transfer Agreement and Michigan Transfer Network. This is part of a series of workshops that we're doing to support the independent and private institutions related to liberal arts transfer. For those of you who may be on the call that are non-MICU institutions, you're welcome to stay. This is going to be just an overview on the MTA and the MTN. Perhaps if you're a seasoned veteran, you can help contribute to some of this information in the discussion. But just to let you know, if you do have other pressing matters, this is really focused on kind of an overview to help orient those institutions that are not currently part of those two things. I'd also like to say thank you to my colleagues, Erica Oriens from the Michigan Community College Association and Shannon Donovan from MICU for joining me today. I don't think Colby's on the call, but if she does come, she is also from MICU. First, we're going to go through just the agenda. We're going to do some welcome and introductions. And again, we're going to talk about the MTA and the MTN, and then we're also going to talk about next steps that are happening after this workshop. So as part of welcome and introductions, I thought I would post here some information about what is your go-to drink for the fall. You can put in the chat if you'd like, if your preference is apple cider, maybe spiked apple cider if you so choose, a caramel latte, or a pumpkin spiced anything. There's pumpkin spiced everything. I actually heard an ad for pumpkin spiced smelling kitty litter. So, you know, nothing's off the table, but or none of the above. If you just like your black coffee, then you can just say none of the above. But if you want to put your responses in the chat just to have a little fun, that would be great. We always like to start this by thanking our funders for this project, the Eagle Foundation and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundation. And so I'd like to get started on the Michigan Transfer Agreement and provide an overview. I'm going to do a little bit of background and history on this for those of you who may not be familiar with the MTA. Back in the day, like 1972, there was an agreement formed through the Macro Association called the Macro Agreement. And that's kind of where we started with the 1.0 numbering system. It was not a block of transfer courses, and it included numerous provisos so that it made it very difficult for students to determine what classes actually transferred and if they satisfied all the requirements to make sure that that course did transfer. So back in 2014, the Michigan Transfer Agreement, the MTA 2.0, was initially implemented, and it allows students to complete that block of courses. Right now, it's a 30 credit block, and it's all general education courses, and I'm going to go over in a minute the categories of those. Students are able to complete that as part of an associate's degree or a standalone package that's transferable to participating Michigan institutions. Since that time, since about 8 years ago, things have changed, requirements have changed. So the Transfer Steering Committee suggested that we kind of initiate a committee in the spring of 2021 that looked at MTA 3.0. It was created to address several lingering issues and some emerging issues around the MTA. So the 2.0 terms, the agreement that's currently in place, students must successfully complete those 30 credits with at least a 2.0 in each course, and at least one credit must be completed at the institution that's actually awarding the MTA. The category of courses based on the distribution is as follows on the screen: one course in English composition, a second course in English comp, or one course in communications. And I'll tell you in a little bit that the 3.0 surveying that we've done really does support kind of a two-course sequence in English comp at most transfer destinations. One course in mathematics, and this is kind of what initiated a lot of the work around the math pathways to evaluate the quantitative reasoning path, statistics path, or that pathway to calculus, which includes college algebra. Two courses in the social sciences from two different disciplines. Two courses in humanity and fine arts from two different disciplines. And we found that it really is not appropriate to include kind of studio or performance classes as part of that grouping. And the last one requires one lab experience for 2 courses in the natural sciences from 2 different disciplines. So as far as participants in the current agreement, all 28 community colleges currently participate, all 15 public universities participate, and then about 20 independent colleges and universities currently participate, which is a great number and benefit for students. So MTA 3.0, I'm going to actually ask Erica if she doesn't mind to talk about this a little bit, because she has really been the lead on a lot of this work. So Erica, if you don't mind.
Sure. Thanks, Donna. I guess I want to start out and talk about what we mean by 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. 1.0, MTA 1.0 referred to when Michigan signed the Michigan institution signed the Michigan Transfer Agreement back in 2014. That agreement went into effect in the fall of 2014, but at that time, there were still a few lingering issues that people wanted to address. And so they formed a committee that they referred to as MTA 2.0 almost immediately in the 2014-15 academic year. And that MTA 2.0 resulted in just a few clarifications about the Michigan Transfer Agreement at that time. Fast forward to probably about 2020, 2021, and those of us who are involved in transfer in Michigan recognize that we have a few lingering issues with the MTA that we want to address. I want to focus on a couple of things that we wanted to learn more about that Donna has listed here. One are some technical issues with how the MTA is implemented. We wanted to get a sense of how if students were using the MTA, how effective it was. We wanted to get a better idea of what curricular changes were happening, particularly at participating universities, and if the MTA was staying up to date with curricular changes across the state. And then we wanted to explore how Michigan could leverage the ACRO transfer-friendly credentialing initiative to address some issues that we were experiencing with credit for prior learning in the transfer agreement. We conducted a survey as a first step to address some of these issues. The survey, about half of the participants were community colleges and the other half were split between independent colleges and public universities. If we go on to the next slide, we should be able to review what some of the opportunities we saw in that survey were. The first opportunity we have to update the transfer agreement is to take a deeper dive on diversity requirements. A significant number of universities now require a US diversity course or a global diversity course in their general education, and the transfer agreement doesn't include that. Of course, right when I start talking. We need to take a deeper dive on communications and composition. Right now, students can take communication Comp 2 or communication, and we learned that the vast majority of institutions do require Comp 2. We also found from the survey results that we need to provide additional support for community college advisors to understand which mathematics pathway they should put students on. Right now, students can do quantitative reasoning, stats, or pathway to calculus. And there are a lot of students that are on the pathway to calculus, despite the fact that most majors will take any of those math courses. And then we want to explore more how we can apply credit for prior learning that was awarded at the community college, how that can be applied to the MTA. So those are kind of some what we want to explore in terms of making updates to the MTA moving forward.
Thank you, Erica. I'm sure my dog will be barking soon enough, so we can share in that. So let us just pause for a few minutes to talk about the MTA, see if you have any questions, get any feedback from you. As far as resources, I've listed those at the bottom. There are obviously already MICU institutions as well as the public universities that participate and have had experience with receiving that credential, how they award it to the transcript, how they manage that information within their system for students. So I would suggest that if there are, if you're close with anybody within your peer institutions, they might be a great mentor to talk with. Obviously, Eric and I are part of that mentoring system as well. So you can reach out to us for feedback, for discussion, for guidance. The other two things that I've listed there as far as the websites, we have information on the transfer.org site related to the Michigan Transfer Agreement. It provides some technical resources and background as well. And then also the macro.org, the macro group, the Michigan Association for Collegiate Registrars and Admission Officers is what that stands for if you're not aware. They also have information about the MTA on their site. So let me just take a minute to pause and see if you have any questions. You can either raise your hand or put something in the chat. Okay, well, I'm going to move on. If you have any questions at the end, we can also address those at that time. So the next overview that we want to provide to you is related to the Michigan Transfer Network, or the MTN is the acronym. For some just basic kind of background and kind of making sure that we all start from the same perspective in terms of kind of understanding the transfer network itself. It includes course equivalencies between Michigan colleges and universities. I'm sure all of you keep equivalency information within your own SIS system or a standalone system at your institution. And I'm pretty sure that the majority would include transfer equivalencies to or from institutions outside of Michigan. One important clarification is that the MTN only maintains those equivalencies for institutions in Michigan. The sending institution is where the student completed the course, and the receiving institution is where the student plans to transfer the course or has already transferred the course. One thing that's important to note on the michigantransfer.org website is that institutions must have an institutional profile to participate in the MTN. This example is from Olivet College. If you're not familiar with the institutional profile page, this is an opportunity or a resource for you to maintain for your own institution. Erica and I don't really touch this page. It's something that you can go into and include information about any links, many links related to your website that students can then access. We've kind of set up that template for you within the structure. You need to have a user sign on to be able to update this page. And the thing that I highlighted here at the bottom with this arrow, and I know it's very small, but we do maintain information about who updated the profile and the last date it was updated, as well as that person who maintains the course equivalencies, and then any other users that have permission to get to kind of the background area of the site to be able to update, maintain information, run reports, etc. So again, it's critical that if you want to participate and aren't currently participating in the MTN, that your institution have this profile and then designate a user to make sure that they can do that work. The next thing I wanted to show you is the actual area within the site where the public, students, high school counselors, even parents, community college advisors, anybody really, who wants to look at how courses transfer. There are two different options. You can either search by that sending institution where you earned that credit, or you can search by, let's say I took a course and I want to see where that course, where it will be transferred to. I can look by receiving institution and see who within that structure accepts the course that I've taken. This page shows an example of kind of what those search results look like. For the example, I used Davenport University as the receiving institution and the sending institution, Grand Rapids Community College. You have the option of submitting additional detail, like the subject. You could do just MATH or MAT, whatever the course code might be. And you could see all math courses, for example. You can be very specific and include the course code as the subject as well as the number, and then be able to see all that detail as well. For this example, I just did kind of a generic results. And this is what comes up initially. So you can see on the left-hand side that's Davenport University and the list of their courses. It includes the course code, the number, the actual course title, and then the credits. And then on the right-hand side, it shows how that course, how GRCC's course would transfer into Davenport. You'll see a details button there. Sometimes there's additional notes that people will put in as they're entering courses into the MTN. And then another column I want to point out to you are the general credits and the waived credits. Sometimes, as you know, there are credits that don't have a direct match by course at an institution. Let's say an intro to psychology course at Davenport is 4 credits or 3 credits, and the one at GRCC is 4 credits, as an example. GRCC could elect to bring in that course as 3 credits of actual credit, and then they could do a 1 credit for a general credit, as an example, that might go to an elective credit category. I'm going to transition next into the actual course data itself so that you can get a sense of, if you're a secure user and you are responsible for that process at your institution, what it looks like when you upload to the MTN. So what I've shown here is I've logged in, I've done my credentials, my username and password. I've gone to the dashboard on the site, and then also then clicked on course data. This shows me, and this is just a snapshot, this isn't current data or live data right now, but it shows me who did the upload, the institution that did the upload, the type of format, and there are several different formats, which I'll get to in a minute in terms of the MTN upload, the number of courses transferred in, those accepted, those that have been added. Some people remove credit transfer equivalencies because they're no longer valid, as an example. The status, and there's several different status levels. There's a removed, there's a staging that allows someone who's uploading to review their data before it goes to live. And then it also provides an error report. You'll see over here on the right-hand side, there are some numbers that are kind of in red. Those are errors, and you can actually click on those in the live account to be able to see what the error is. The majority of the time, the errors are typically wrong IPEDS code, something like that, that you would just need to fix. And then it also shows the date that it was actually uploaded. To help you with this, if you get an error, we have a list of IPEDS codes that you can look up. And then we also have some information here about column definitions as a resource in case you have questions. Another component that we have within the system itself is a lot of resources to help you with manuals, instructions, videos, PDFs that you could actually print and keep as a resource if you don't want to keep going back to. But on the dashboard, we have one specific to the course data. It includes instructions for uploading those course equivalencies. It includes the different descriptions of the file formats, the simple, the multi, etc. And then you also have the option to do individual single equivalency additions to the system. Let's say you have a student that needs something transcripted right away and they need to be able to show that on the system. So you can do a single add equivalency. What's important to note on that is every time you would do a file upload, that information is replaced. When you do a file upload, all of your information within the MTN is updated. So if you've done a single add equivalency and you have not included that in your file, that single equivalency goes away. So it's just a note to remember that if you're going to use that as an option, to make sure you include that to your files. So Erica is also the guru related to the MTN. So I defer to her if she wants to add any information related to this. I've also included resources here on the MTN, or on the MTN website, michigantransfer.org. There's also technical resources that you don't have to have a secure user sign on to get to. And that includes information on the MTN and the MTA. So that's an option for you as well. And then again, going to the dashboard will give you access to those resources once you have a secure user sign on. So I'll defer to Erica and then I'll open it up for discussion, questions, feedback.
Yep. Thanks, Donna. The only thing I will add is that what Donna shared in terms of uploading data to the Michigan Transfer Network is a relatively easy process. The bigger challenge for many colleges and universities who are just beginning in this work is everything that needs to happen before you upload it to the transfer network. And so I'll point out two specific things. One would be how you manage equivalencies in your own student information system. Some of you we have like 5 different student information systems in Michigan with various different levels of sophistication and customization associated with managing equivalencies. So the technical aspect of managing that is can be a challenge before you upload to the transfer network. The second issue I will point out is the I guess business process you use at your institution to evaluate new equivalencies. So what we often find at institutions is a transcript will come in from an institution, and your transcript evaluators are looking at that. But the challenge there sometimes is when there isn't a well-defined process in terms of how you get that course evaluated in your academic departments, how that information gets back to the registrar's office and then loaded into the system. So there are a number of resources out there. I've had conversations with a couple institutions here in terms of how you can manage some of that process at your own institution. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you're wondering how you can most efficiently manage that entire process at your institution.
Thank you, Erica. We have actually held several meetings with individual institutions where we've met with them and gone through a level of detail related to how do you maintain your information. Some institutions have it in an Excel file, and we help them look at the format required for the MTN upload. We kind of evaluate that for them. We really walk them through step by step for that process. So we can also provide that level of detail and support. So let me pause and see if you have any questions or feedback.
Hi there. I feel like I'm just going to say really quickly, I don't have a lot of feedback. My name is Amy. I am brand new to my new role effective today. So I have not been involved with our transfer activities, but I will be in the future. So I have a whole lot to learn. So my quiet no comments is that I'm listening and learning.
Sounds great. Thank you, Amy, and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So in terms of next steps, for those of you who may not yet be participating in one or both the MTA and or the MTN, is we would encourage you to engage. I referenced the fact that we've done some one-on-one sessions related to some of these things. So we'd be more than happy to schedule a Zoom meeting at your convenience. We can help you if you don't currently have access to the dashboard. We can help you and show you how equivalencies are uploaded. Give you more structure and information related to the MTA and how you can kind of designate those courses within the MTN. So happy to help you with one-on-one sessions. Our next workshop is kind of a culmination of the first 3 that we've had. That's scheduled for February 13th, 2023, perhaps since this may be the first 2023 meeting on your calendar. But we're going to look at what those next steps are if you haven't yet engaged with the MI transfer pathways, the MTA and or the MTN. Another exciting event to kind of save the date is July 20th, 2023. We're going to host a symposium at Hope College for all the participants in the MI Liberal Arts Pathways work. That includes invitation to all of the MICO institutions, as well as the community colleges that have helped and supported the MICO institutions with working on the MI transfer pathways and some of that other work. So a few dates to keep in mind. My contact information is here. As I said, we're here to help and support. So feel free to contact me if you'd like to set up a one-on-one session. In some cases, I do include Erica since she's the expert, especially when it comes to the MTN. And I've also included a slide for links and resources. Some of these go back to our funders. Some of these go back to our evaluator for this project, as well as information, general information about initiatives and resources at the MCCA. And in conclusion, our contact information is there. These slides and the recording will be posted to the event on mcca.org. So after today, if you want to share it with any of your colleagues, you can forward that. You can listen to it again if there was something that you missed and you wanted to refresh your memory. Okay, anything else? I see your message, Amy. Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to schedule an overview session with you, just one-on-one, and navigate through the website itself and show you some of that detail. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, I'm going to give you a little bit of time back.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.